What do ordinary people in Russia think about mobilization? And is anybody protesting against that or what? That's what we are going to talk about in today's video. Hi, my name is Niki. I live in Saint Petersburg city. In a few days, Russia started mobilization, partial mobilization. During that day, I thought it will be interesting to ask local people what do they think about it, so I got a couple of street interviews today. Also, September 21st, I thought there might be interesting to go to the downtown and see if there's any protest gathering in the city and to live stream it for you. Apparently it happened. And today I want to talk a bit more about that as well, basically share how the protest felt.
Hello. Hello. Нет войне. Нет войне.
How I experienced that, and basically what was the difference between seeing a protest this time compared to what we have back in February and March earlier this year.
There's really a lot of people around me, and there's also a lot of police troops even kilometers away from the protesting site.
And before we get started, guys, I want to ask you to subscribe to my channel, especially if you're returning to watch my videos again and again and have not subscribed yet. Thank you! Honestly, guys, I think we are kinda back in time to February 2022, like 7 months ago. Every single person, at least around me, was closely following what is happening, what is going on, checking the news, hearing such conversations from strangers on the streets when I just passed by. It was like that back in February. Then, let's say in April, in May, in August, people of course were kinda discussing what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, but that was surely not that super big everyone discussed topic. And today we are back to the time again when everybody is discussing the same thing, partial mobilization in Russia. And believe me, people are not happy about that.
Ваше отношение к частичной мобилизации?
Это отвратительно.
Почему? Почему?
Это полный. Я в шоке. Я считаю, что частичная мобилизация это как так называемая спецоперация, которая как бы вроде бы спецоперация, но на самом деле нифига, если это по сути война. Я считаю, категорически против этого всего.
So I was there in the city observing and live streaming anti-mobilization protest in Saint Petersburg, and from what I saw, that was not as massive as anti-war protests that took place by the end of February, beginning of March. I think one number can illustrate the amount of people who went to the streets protest quite well. That's more than 1,300 people who were detained during this protest across all cities in Russia. Only in Saint Petersburg there were like more than 200 people detained. I personally saw just a few of them like from afar.
You see a lot of police cars, not policemen in that white car. So basically, a lot of police coming here, following the people. They are just running behind me, trying to escape.
And what interesting thing about this protest, one popular Russian joke became true. We had kind of joke on Russian internet about if you go to a protest and police detains you, then you'll find out yourself in Ukraine. Well, that's not a joke anymore, because there really were people who got special, I don't know, mobilization letter or something like that right after they were detained from the protest. I heard such news from the city of Moscow, and I'm going to talk more about these mobilization letters a bit later. What I want to share now is the kind of atmosphere that I observed during the protest here in Saint Petersburg. And what I felt there was really feeling of discomfort. Perhaps I felt that because there were like not so many people going to protest overall compared to before, and every single individual got much more attention from other people and also from authorities. And maybe perhaps I got slapped right during live streaming from a random weirdo who was shouting to me exactly the same sentence for twice.
About these tiny little details of this partial mobilization.
По-русски говори.
По-русски.
Ты слышишь меня? По-русски говори.
По-русски говори, which means speak Russian, you speak Russian. So right now I have a nice recording of myself getting slapped on the face, and that recording was seen by like, I don't know, million of people around the world, which is, I don't know, a little bit weird. So here are a few dry facts about protests in Russia here in Saint Petersburg on September 21st. Thousands of people went to the streets, hundreds of people were detained, and police was quite strictly aggressive, I don't know how to describe it. So overall I had this kind of not very safe and also uncomfortable feeling imagine being there around the protest. And here I specifically want to mention that every single time when I go live streaming and showing you guys the protest or something like that on the streets, I do not join such activities, I do not actively shout anything, I just stay aside from the crowd, basically because I don't want to give authorities any reason to get myself involved and prosecuted for that, so I don't want to give them any reason for that.
Обычные люди, они абсолютно не хотят войны и тем более друг друга истребляют. Та информация, которая нам дается в новостных каналах, в СМИ о том, что Россия сейчас выигрывает, это абсолютно не так, потому что если бы это было так, мобилизацию бы не допустили.
Я тоже категорически против. Во-первых, потому что наших парней отправят принудительно на войну в другую страну, они будут убивать и могут умереть сами.
There is another interesting observation that I had yesterday. So basically there is a different target audience, if I could use these words to call people who go to protest. So people who went to protest 2 years ago to support Navalny, people who protested anti-war half a year ago, and people who joined anti-mobilization protest yesterday, they are not all the same. The biggest difference is that the recent updates, the mobilization news, they literally touch every single family, every single person that lives in Russia, not only people who are being in opposition to our government, but literally every single male person and every single female person who has, I don't know, brothers, husbands, boyfriends, just male friends, whatever you say.
Есть ли у вас кто-то из родственников, кто служил или, пригоден типа к службе?
У меня папа военный хирург, да. Он там был. И вообще он сказал, что это хорошо для нас, что объявили эту мобилизацию.
Конечно, очень страшно за родных, за близких. Хочется защитить людей, с которыми ты рядом живешь, и это абсолютно невозможно, поэтому это реально полный пиздец.
Actually, today, about 1 hour ago, before recording this video, I was simply checking news and I saw some protests happening in Dagestan.
Из-за этого, что нас война отправляет, из-за этого нас война делает.
So, for sure, people across the entire country are deeply touched with all recent changes.
Ваш прогноз: до конца года ведут полную мобилизацию?
100%. Мы думаем, что даже не до конца года, это вот, скорее всего, просто после первого призыва, я думаю, что так и будет.
Если будет провал частичной мобилизации, и мы не сможем справиться с Украиной этими силами, то, конечно, будет.
Мне кажется, скорее всего, если все будет плохо, а это точно будет плохо, я считаю, то будет и всеобщая мобилизация, но хотелось бы верить, что при всеобщей мобилизации хотя бы люди как-то проснутся побольше, и что-то там, может быть, у нас изменится. Надежд пока мало, но, как говорится, надежда умирает последней.
А как думаете, будет она полная мобилизация?
Да.
There is a popular website in Russian web, basically like Reddit for international community. There is Peekaboo website in Russia, and that's a website where every single person can share anything. They can share some pictures or write something, whatever it is. Since September 20th, we had a lot of discussions on that website. People were talking about, hey, what is happening with this mobilization? What will happen to us soon? What's going on? And since yesterday, people started to share that they are receiving the mobilization letters. So how it works in Russia, basically? There are special army departments, we call them военкоматы, военные комиссариаты. They can send you a letter, you receive a letter, and then you have to go to this военкомат, the army department. Then they check in your body and mind state. If you're alright, you're being sent to army. So since yesterday, people across the entire country were sharing that they received such kind of военкомат letters. A few people said that they received these letters in the evening and they have to go to that army department in the morning. So the things are like crazy. Having this kind of ажиотаж, a lot of people are deciding to leave Russia and literally all tickets are sold out.
Не видать конца и края легковых машин. Все бегут с России. Кого тут только нет.
In the last video I showed you that there is no available tickets for today and tomorrow, and right now if I search the same website for any flights from Saint Petersburg to like anywhere abroad, it will be available after, let's say, 5, 6, 7 days, no earlier. And this situation is kinda unique in my opinion, because even in February and in March, when people were deciding to leave Russia and go, let's say, to Georgia, or to Istanbul, or to Europe, or to America, wherever they wanna go, even like that, it was not all sold out. It was possible to buy same day or next day ticket. It's not possible today, which makes me think, alright, maybe I'm not going to get drafted, let's say, this week or next week or this month, but someday surely the full mobilization might happen, and then what are we going to do next? Like, imagine it might happen exactly in the same way, to be announced in the morning, and then a lot of people will rush out of Russia once again, everything is sold out, and it's impossible to leave ASAP. When I think about what's gonna be in a month or in 2 months, I'm not quite sure about that. So yes, there's definitely things that I should reconsider. You know guys, this video appeared to be quite spontaneous, where I just sit and share my personal feeling and, I don't know, experience or things that I see around myself. And once again, I feel like I'm time traveled to 7 months ago, and things are changing so fast again. So tell me guys if this video was interesting to you, and I'll know that you want to hear such stuff from me or not. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Спасибо and пока.